All right, welcome to episode 22 of the Just a Moment Ago podcast. Today I got Justin back co hosting with me, and I have Jamie on the phone. He is a recovering addict who's been recently released from prison and is here to share his story and discuss how now being an artist is his positive addiction. So, JJ, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, bud?
I am doing good. Another day, another story, another episode.
Yeah.
Jamie, how's it going today? And can you share where you're calling from, how long you were in active addiction, and how long you've been sober?
Uh, yeah, I'm calling from Chaska, Minnesota. Uh, I've been I was in addiction for probably over 15 years, and I'm clean and sober for two years now.
Nice.
Nice, man. But your addiction was split up, right? Like you had addiction, then you were recovered, and then you were an addict again, and now you're recovered again.
Yeah, I did have a split. I was on Suboxone for like probably 4 years, and I did that well, and then my insurance ran out, so I kind of like drifted on it. But then I kind of like cleaned up a little bit when I had the kids.
Right, right. So, how old were you when you were actually introduced to substances?
Fuck, man, I was young as fuck. I was gonna say like 8. I was probably 8 years old. First
Eight.
weed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Who introduced you at 8?
it was just around. We had a small neighborhood, all construction like based fathers and stuff. So we're always on the job in like construction. There's a lot of drugs and stuff going on, and
No,
like it was kind of like you go to work. After work, you go drink and smoke. That's kind of how we were all
8
raised.
years old, man. You definitely, out of everybody I've ever known, that's definitely the youngest.
I
Yeah.
think uh, Brandon was young too, like 11, but not 8.
Not 8. I didn't expect that, man. Not in the single digits, man.
So, of course, starting that young, how long was it before you were actually like a regular user?
Oh, just regular. It took a while for me to get in the swing of it because I knew I was introduced to it, but we knew it was like not like something normal to do. We knew we would get in trouble for it,
Right?
but I didn't really start getting into it to like 11 and 12, 13, 13 probably started getting more frequent. Like you every Friday night we'd be getting smoked out.
So you're just talking about, are you talking about marijuana? Or are you talking about other substances?
Yeah, just starting. That was my introduction to the substance was marijuana.
Right, nice. So that's just, it's not quite as bad as some people might have been thinking there
Right.
with full like
Oh yeah, I wasn't
substances.
banging cocaine or anything.
Talk about construction workers and 8-year-old hanging around doing substances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, so when were you actually introduced to like harder substances then?
Oh, probably I want to say like 8th grade, going in my freshman year of high school. Cocaine probably was the first acceptable one.
Right. And that's one that you struggled with kind of recently too.
Well, mostly like recently it's been heroin. I mean,
Well, I guess not recently, within the last few years. Like,
yeah, I've always stayed on opiates. I've been mostly opiate addicted.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
strong opiates. I mean, I've gotten in trouble for cocaine and stuff, but I mean that was just like a party drug, really. Like it never really got a hold of me. As far as addiction wise, I think the opiates were what really grabbed a hold of me.
right.
And that's when like life changed.
Me
So
too, bud. Yeah.
So,
I think you gotta.
yeah, for sure. Well, like, what do you feel were the factors that led you to that path? Like, as you're saying this, how it grabbed a hold of you.
Well, I just think it's like, well, with opiates, it's just the way it affected me was a lot different. I seen myself as a more productive person. I just liked the way it felt more than I liked anything else. Like I felt like that's the way I wanted to be. When I was high on heroin or like oxys and shit, I was just confident and just more straightforward. Everything I really lacked of, I came out with when I was doing those. Like I was
So,
a strong ass worker. That's what like kept my addiction going. Like when I fucking did that shit, I worked my ass off
See,
because I
right.
liked it and I was just outgoing.
did they give you energy?
Yeah,
Isn't
for
that
sure.
funny?
Motivation.
Like
Yeah,
how I think us who become so addicted to opiates, it's like, I'm sure you've seen this before where it's like people get, prescribed Vicodin or whatever for like some dental work, and they can barely even handle like one of them because it just
yeah,
wipes them out. And I think us, the ones that get addicted to opiates, it's almost like it has a reverse effect.
yeah. Our wiring's different. I mean, it
Yep.
made me productive. Like I tried to quit my job when I was working Sandvig like 3 or 4 times, and he kept on giving me a raise, and I was just getting more fucked up. I was like, holy shit, I couldn't leave that job, you know?
Right. That's what kept you there was he was giving you raises and you actually were just using more while you were doing that construction job.
Yeah, I was tore up towards the end, man. I was just like, at one point, I wasn't even like leaving the job. I was just getting my plug to come meet me on the job, and just kept going until I had
Oh,
nowhere else to go.
right. Because I mean, it wasn't long after that job ended that me and you lost touch, and I mean, we were good. We were close back then. So,
Yeah, yep, that was an everyday event.
right. So, I mean, do you think that your moving around had anything to do with this stuff, like you being able to use or wanting that energy? Because you don't have to be in one place and be judged so much in one city. Like you've moved around quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I just thought I always drift to it because I've always liked it. It's always appealed to me. Like when I needed to, like when I'm feeling like I guess some people come home and have a beer or whatever and shit, or like go through some stuff. If I want to get through some shit in my head or something like that, I want to get high.
Right, for sure.
It's like my answer for loneliness, really. I really didn't start like I was good up until like my girl left and then the kids are gone and I was like I had nothing else. So I was fucking filling that void with that addiction.
Right. When you got up here, you were working really hard. You were working two jobs when I got around you about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So was that you were clean then? You were just drinking a little bit, right?
Yup.
Right. So what got you clean to get up here?
Ah, kids are the motivator, man. The kids, I like being a dad, you know.
Right, but did you have some things happen or what led to that getting clean the first time?
Well, leading to the clean the first time was just me wanting more for myself. Really, it was nothing significant. I was a new father, just trying to do things the right way and see how it goes. Because I never really had that, and I kind of wanted to do that to see what it would be like to be just 100% there for that situation and in time. And I thought I could do it. I really was like I was hooked on it, but I was really just it was like a fragile situation where I wasn't really ready to be in that position, and I didn't know what to expect, and not having like a strong like not being strong enough to like take it on and have the right means of like knowing how to take it on led me back to doing drugs really because I just like I went back to what I was used to.
Right. And I mean, that's what addicts often do is they go back to what they're easy, what they're used to, you
That
know.
comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How quickly did you get back into active addiction then? Was it a couple years? And then what was the factor? Was it the kids that pushed you back because you were struggling with your relationship?
Well, I mean, what pushed me into addiction was not the lack of kids and everything. It was the lack of everybody. I was just
That's
by
how I
myself.
mean to word it is
Yeah.
the lack of seeing them.
Yeah, like when I didn't have that, I didn't have anything to really uphold my like sobriety by. You know what I mean? I had no accountability to going on me. I was like, fuck it. Like if I'm not gonna see my kids, then I'm gonna fucking have a reason for not seeing them. You know, like I'm gonna fucking
Right?
I'm
And
gonna
that's
get high.
such
I'm gonna
a self-destructive way to be. You
yeah
know, if I can't see the kids or if I can't do it, then I gotta have, I used to be like that too. Like if somebody said something or thought something, I was like, well, I'm gonna be that way then
Yep.
because I'm gonna make sure that I am that way if they think this or if they want it, you know?
Yeah, it's that whole justifying behavior.
yeah. I mean, at one point, you seen it. I was juggling the house, the job, whatever. And
You
I
were
was like
working heavy
maintaining.
hours too.
Yeah, yeah, I was putting it in, and that's why another thing is like smoke and mirrors. No one really was suspected that I was depressed or anything. They just thought I was working my fucking ass off. But
Well, when you
I was
got
really just,
home,
yeah,
you would go out a little bit. You had people around you, so it didn't seem like you were. really in too bad of a way until you kind of were slipping a little further into using it towards the end there before we lost touch, you know?
Yeah, like when we lost, I just given up on the bucket. Like the place was a trap house. I was going hard. I was dating. I was just around a lot of people in a lot of circle, and I was surrounded by the kind of people that wouldn't even notice if you were slipped up or not. You know what I mean? Because they're so fucked up anyway.
100%. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And you got stuff robbed from you at your house, right?
Yeah, all types of shit all the time.
I'm talking about like you got a big quantity of substance, didn't you, at one point
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a couple of times.
while you
Fucking,
were at work?
you know,
Because people would stay there and he would kind of trust people, you know, and
Yeah.
people would be around. And I think you kind of let too many people know what was around.
at the same time, I wasn't even really caring. Like there wasn't really a contingency plan on that. It was just me just going full throttle at that point, where I really, it would like all of that shit really had no effect on me. Like, yeah, I was pissed off. I couldn't get my shit conveniently, but it never stopped. It never fucking stopped. I never stopped and was like, oh, this is fucked up. I need to change, or I need to like, think about who's around me. I was just like, fuck it, let's keep going, like I was moving forward now,
No, yeah,
you
I
know.
remember because you didn't really seem to dwell on things. You would just kind of be like, well, that happened. We're going to the next thing. We got to do this then, or we got to do this to make up that. You know, it was always just that next thing.
Yeah, I pushed it, man. I pushed it to the limit, and it's like the thing that, like, my ability to adapt to that was what made me probably the perfect addict. Like, I couldn't, like,
Right.
there was no stopping it. There was no rock bottom at that point either for me, which I feel like that took like when you hit your rock bottom, it's easy for someone to be like, oh yeah, I gotta fucking change and shit. But for me, it was almost accepted. I just like people were just like flocking, you know what I mean? I had no real rock bottom until it was like well into it. I would say 5 years. Like that's a going strong. That's a strong bender.
Oh, for sure it is, man. And I mean, at this point, so now you are using a lot. Your house is in turmoil. You've lost your house, and you were bouncing around hotels, right? Like, what were your days like at that point?
Uh, Pretty havoc. I mean, always kind of had a girl with me, so it was like a girl slash partner in crime. Fucking
Was it the
just
same person?
no, I bounced between girls. I had Joanna for but I had her for like fucking ever, but then she ended up dying, so she
Oh.
overdosed and died while I was in jail.
Oh
And
no,
that was like a
dude.
whole thing too. Like I was in county for like a little bit, like maybe a couple months, and then I got out. When she died, that was when I kind of the bottom dropped out of me really giving a fuck, because like that was everything. That was everything I had left. You know what I mean? She had all my stuff and everything, and without that, I pretty much started out with nothing coming out, and then I just built myself back up, just hustling and grinding, hitting the streets, doing whatever, like crazy shit. You know what I mean? Just whatever I could, which is all bad. You know what I mean? Like I got a smart mind, so I rearranged it so I had money. Like I made money.
You, while you were like in the midst of your probably bigger part, you weren't really suffering. I mean, you had what you needed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had what I needed was just fucking drugs.
Right.
It's fine to get high, like
And
you
you
know what I mean?
kind of are the type of person that, you know, your personality, you do make friends pretty easily, so you can get people around you if you want to.
Yeah,
Like I've
yeah.
noticed that being out with you places, like you do have kind of people are attracted to your personality.
I think it's just a hat. Like if people see you that you're having a good time, they want a part of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's natural. Like if they see that, they want that. It's just like law of attraction.
Right. So did you have was there like a were you staying in, you know, motels with a lot of different addicts or kind of what was that scene like?
Well, when I was doing the hotel thing, it was just you know how they like it's kind of weird if you think about the way a lot of these like sites are set up. Like you go to like your choice hotels, or you go to like Expedia or Priceline.
Right.
They're really set up for that type of lifestyle. They're set up for a person that's going to be in a hotel for a certain amount of time, because then they give you rewards for a certain amount of hotels. They give you all this stuff. So like if you stay at this hotel, they give you like a day or two free. So if you're trapping or doing anything in a hotel lifestyle, and you're on one of them, even the like the Hilton, they have a Players Club card or whatever, and if you're on that, it's gonna support your lifestyle on that way. And it's kind of weird, but like it's almost geared to people that are selling drugs or in that drug world.
Oh, it's kind of
As it
like a
sounds, it
pawn
really
shop.
is.
It's like
Yeah,
what's that's gonna bring, you know?
That's crazy. So
yeah,
you figured out how to manipulate these websites to your
yeah.
benefit while you're like running traps out of motels and stuff. Like,
Everything. Just staying in, like, I was staying in nice ass hotels. I really wasn't in any bottom hotels. I was in like three stars or better. You know what I mean?
so it probably
So
wasn't even super obvious you were doing stuff out of them unless you get loud or obnoxious or somebody
yeah, no,
acts
and
up.
you never like rule number one. You never bring them back to the trap. Like the hotel life was peaceful, really, because I was just where I go and have my peace. I go like average day. I go out, make money, get my drugs, go back to the hotel, get high, start over next day. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, you get high periodically through the day, but you wouldn't have like that, the reserves to keep going until
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It, and then like once you get like, enough money saved up, then you just get your bag, go back to the hotel and just forget about the world for a week and deal with it the next morning.
Man, you sounds like you had your little setup going in a little perfect circle for a little while.
Oh, I was in the Radisson. I still got free nights at the Radisson, bro. That's a nice ass hotel, man. Their breakfast, that continental breakfast is the shit, man.
Wow.
The pool, I was living it up, Even out here in Minnesota, like I was in Shakopee, like all these bougie ass places, and I got like stays there. Like, dude, it's nice. It's nice. It was nice.
Right, for sure. But so
It's pretty
after,
much a vacation. Your whole life's a vacation. I'm just at a resort pretty much my whole entire drug history until
right,
the end. I
until
was a
you get,
savage.
caught up in it a little too far, you
Oh
know.
yeah, I mean, we were
But
doing just a lot of dirt, really, to get what you needed.
right. So I mean, after the construction work and you were, now you're bouncing around, what took you across to Minnesota then?
Well, I mean, we're in Eau Claire, right?
Right,
So it's a small pond with a lot of little fish, and
for sure.
drugs are expensive there, man.
Yeah,
I need to go to the biggest city where the drugs are going to be plentiful and cheaper.
Readily available, yeah.
right. So
Yeah,
you
I need
actually
to be
moved right to where you could get a better price right close to you. That's how,
100%, man. And then I could bring it to where I could be sustainable on it. You know what I mean? Like when you're buying $100 points and shit,
yeah,
$100 grams, you know what I mean? And then you go down there and you're doing it for like 20, $30 a point. It becomes sustainable for you to be a drug addict.
right. Yeah, that's a big difference in cost for sure. And I'm sure even
You're
the
getting it
pills and
100%
stuff
not
are,
stomped on either. You know what I mean? You're getting a pure.
yeah, yeah. By the time it's here, people have caught it. You don't even know what's in it half the time.
No, that's becoming a huge thing now.
Now,
You
yeah.
are lucky. I just read that the other day, that 8 out of 10, like those the 30 milligram oxycodones or whatever, 8 out of 10, the DEA even says like they are not even real. 8 out of 10 times, they're all just pure fentanyl.
Y-
Yeah, well, I mean, it all started with the perk 30s. Now there's even Xanny bars that are mostly fentanyl. They're phasing everything.
That is just absolutely crazy.
It is like the new corn syrup of the drug industry.
Yeah, it's actually really bad. I don't know if you've heard this, but they are finding traces of fentanyl in motel room pillowcases.
Well, it's mainly because these like the cartel had figured out how to mass produce it in these super labs. Back in the day, fentanyl was fucking hard to get. You wouldn't like
The patches.
it was unheard of to get that shit because it was so pure and so strong. Like it was more than heroin would ever cost. It was like the oxycontin, and it was super. Now you can get it cheap, so cheap that it's like they're replacing heroin. It's crazy.
And
Like what
it's
would
even worse.
What
They
is the deal though that they didn't do it with oxy and stuff before? Like, why is fentanyl the one that they figured out how to make so
It's cheap
easily?
and it's readily available, and it's not the
I'm saying
same.
though, as a compound that you're making. Like, I'm not a chemist.
Oh,
well
it's
they make the ingredients are from Asia, right? And like
yeah.
that company has just spiraled the giving the ingredients away, so you can just make it a lot quicker. When you're making oxycontin or anything else, it's going to be more expensive to make, and it's a little bit more trickier. But it's also got pseudomethadone in it too. So
It's
when you're
got
getting fentanyl,
Zanladine.
it's gonna
Xylazine or
get the
Xanladine?
addiction
Yep.
20 times more, right? So it's like basically when you had your Coke, when you get your freebase, it's 20 times more powerful and 20 times more addicting, like immediately. Like
Right.
you're gonna go through withdrawal within hours with Fetty. Whereas if you do fucking morphine or oxycontin, it's gonna take you a couple of days to hit that withdrawal phase where you're feeling like dog shit and you need another one, you know? Fentanyl, it's gonna be immediately. It's gonna be that day. You're gonna want
Yeah, the
more. It
life
wears
is
out quick.
very different on them for sure.
I
Yeah.
I don't really have experience with fentanyl.
See, I don't have much either. I did not get to that. Fentanyl got really big like 2 years after I was in a program.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully.
Oh, it's pretty huge. I mean, it's still very, very prevalent. You know
But
what I
I
mean?
know
And the thing
that,
about it, it became like the smoker's choice. People wanted to smoke it because it fucked you up like you were hitting it from a needle. Like it was so strong, but at the same time, it's making you sick, twice as sick in the end too. You're getting dope sick really quick, so you're hooked on something that's essentially making you sick. That's like you're just in a dog shit world right there. You know?
It's cut with xylazine. It's spelled weird. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that it's completely resistant to Narcan,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's
I
just
mean, there's
what's
different
killing
levels. There's
people.
car fentanyl, there's elephant fentanyl, there's new stuff out there. It's even more crazy. Like it just keeps getting harder. So I mean, yeah, fentanyl. I mean, Narcan. Basically, all that does is come in and like stop, it like clogs your opiate receptors. But once you're in respiratory like relief or whatever, your heart's it needs to stop. Well, fentanyl will it's not it's going to stop your heart pretty much essentially. Where Narcan is just going to stop you from feeling high, but it's not going to stop the effects of it, like what's going on in your body. You might feel sober, but you're still fucking blasted. That's why a lot of people OD after taking Narcan. They don't feel high, so they try to get high,
Yep.
but their body's so fucked up already they don't realize it.
yeah, and I mean with the fentanyl too, a lot. I mean, I hear
Yeah.
stories of people using 2 or 3 Narcans just to be bringing people back from them.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the
It's horror
nasal one is
stories.
pretty much whoever did the nasal spray that you get the Pulitzer Prize because that was genius. That was probably the best you can do.
Oh, right.
I
I
mean, I was one of
advocate.
those guys. I got Narcan 3 times in one day. I probably got Narcan 7 times in a week though.
What?
Yeah, it
How
was
many
going for
times
it.
have you OD'd, man?
Oh, gee, that's uncountable. I mean, I woke up with a Narcan needle still in my leg. You know what I mean? Dude, fucking, I've shot up with a Narcan needle. You know, like I was going hard, and that's a big
Bro,
gauge.
you can't even count how many times you OD'd.
And like, yeah, I mean, I've hit it like the level. Like once I've OD'd 4 times, same dope and same needle,
Oh,
same Narcan needle too. It's crazy. I
man.
just kept falling out. Like every time I woke up, I wanted to get back high again. My girl was like, "What the fuck, dude? Stop!"
I know
I'm
you're the
like,
type
"What
of
you?"
person that pushes stuff to the extremes when you get started.
Yeah, I'm definitely going all in.
Like Charlie Sheen.
It's a Charlie Sheen thing.
Yep.
Well, did you see that picture I drew of my addiction, dude? That's like what it was. I was chained to it.
Yes, dude. I want a copy of that for the wall, man. Like, that is crazy. Like,
Yeah, I looked at some of
the
those,
way
man.
he
They're really
visions
cool.
his own addiction, though, is very, very crazy. Like, it's like picture perfect drawn out. It's crazy. He's got a really good mind for that art. So, what actually led to you getting arrested then? I mean, where you actually got
I got
time in
well. I
prison?
mean, I had a lot of these little things. It was just like little things in the hotel, like planes and shit, and like they give me for like these little possessions here and there. Like one time, I got pulled over, had a fucking needle graveyard in my backpack, and I just didn't go to court. So I had all these like failure to appears and shit like that. But then finally, I just had a bunch of shit stacked up on me. The girl I was with, she had like a stolen laptop and shit, and she was doing a bunch of fraudulent bullshit on there, and like I got caught up with that. It just kept on mounting all these little things, and then one time I was leaving a hotel in Savage, and we had a complaint, and the cops were right at the car, and I was like, I fucking knew it. I was done. I was fucking done. And I bailed out, got out, and I fought it for a while because it was during COVID and shit. So they weren't really weren't like putting anybody in. So I got
Yep.
lucky. So I ended up fighting that fucker for almost a year. And by the time I went to prison, I was actually on my way of getting myself clean and like turning my shit around. So it was like I was ready, you know? Because I
Right.
knew, like the whole thing was, I knew I was going to prison, and I knew the way to end would either be to the grave or prison. There was no way out of it, and I was starting to like just kind of open my eyes and get a grip of like what was going on, and a lot of it happened because my dad was getting sick and shit. Like I was trying to be there for them. I was kind of like my reality started getting back in touch.
Yeah, for sure. So you just were skipping your court dates, and that's kind of how you ended up in all that?
Yeah, I mean it was
They don't like that.
accumulation of shit. Yeah,
No, they don't.
accumulation.
They really don't like that when you skip court.
Oh, I wasn't thinking I was gonna make it to court, to be honest with you. When they fucking gave me the out, I was like, I won't even be here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you
I
were
fucking,
using that heavy.
yeah, it was not a doubt in my mind. I was so dove sick, I was like, get me the fuck
Stressful
out of here.
too.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
mean,
It's a
I was
scary thing.
running. Yeah, I mean, when I finally went to prison, I was pretty relieved. I mean, it was a bummer, but I was actually like relieved that it was over.
Yep.
Like, I felt like I could breathe again for the first time. I
That's
was like, fuck,
crazy. So,
you know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
how much were you doing a day?
Oh, dude, I was doing like easily 2 to 3 grams. And I would mix it with tar and like meth and like meth. I'd mix it with all everything. I was doing a lot of drugs. Like I was
Right.
pretty fucked up, dude. Like I was real fucked up. My liver was. They were saying like they were like, we don't even know like what parts are like how you're alive. You're like a medical miracle right now, dude. They were just doing like viral count and shit. They were just like, holy fuck. But I don't know. My body's really resilient, and it takes a fucking beating for some reason, and it doesn't. I don't know. And I
Well,
still look fairly young and shit. People cannot even believe how much drug use I have in me because they think they look so healthy and shit. Like it's crazy.
we were just talking about how you get your labs done and stuff, and they
Yep.
tell you you're healthy, and you're like, no, I'm not. I feel like shit.
Yep. But I don't feel good.
So, do you have any side effects though that are happening, or have you been to the doctor or anything, or are you like actually solid?
I'm solid. I mean, I'm good. Like I don't have anything that's pending. I mean, like physically, mentally, I think like PTSD, fucking just like the depression, like a lot of shit like that. I'm working through. I'm getting through, and like just getting my head back on track was probably the hardest thing to do. And then just reconnecting with my family again, you know, like my daughter, like just being back on a kid level, you know, and it's just really weird. And having to explain all that shit to her was a lot, you know, for me and for her to understand, you know.
Right. Like, how did that impact your relationship with her?
It's just the weirdest thing, but it actually kind of made it stronger. She fucking pulled through for me when I was in prison. It was like worried, sick out of her mind. So then she just became a kind of upset, which I feel horribly selfish for because she should never, at her age, have to worry about if her dad's gonna live or die and shit like that. That's fucked up. But
Yep.
she became like it. Now she calls me in the morning, checks in with me, and sees if I'm okay and like what's going on, which is fucking awesome because you couldn't really, you don't expect that from your 15-year-old daughter, even have that. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to usually get a fuck away from you. You know, when you're a kid, you don't want to be anything around your parents. But she's like getting closer to me because of it, because she worries, but she also like. I don't know if she values the part, but she doesn't want to miss out on my life, or she doesn't want me to miss out on her life now. So it's like a really strong bond. I got lucky.
Yeah, man, for sure. Do you think that your bond might have gotten a little stronger too because you were honest with her? Like, have you been honest with her about some of this
Yeah,
stuff?
I,
Or
I kept it real with her. I wasn't gonna bullshit her and shit. You know what I mean? Because she deserves to know the truth.
how old is
And
she now?
she's 15 now. She'll be
Okay.
16 in August,
Okay.
April.
So she's old enough to start understanding.
Yeah, I mean, like I still, like, I'm building like a bond with her and shit. But I like, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm also looking for like the signs if she's using and shit like that. I always look at like I'll like creep up on her
Right.
Instagram and shit and see like who her friends are, see if I know their parents and shit.
Like, even if it's marijuana or anything like that, vaping, anything.
Yeah, because basically, I don't want anything for her to be like impaired and just not know what's going on. I mean, it all leads to one thing or another, but bad decisions come with all of it. You know?
Oh, for sure, man, for sure.
So, what's did were you in any programs when you were in prison? And
Well,
were you in prison here in Wisconsin or Minnesota?
no, I was in Minnesota. I started in St. Cloud. That's where they pretty much classify you in,
Yep.
and that's where you gonna go, and then you gonna go from there. And then I was in Rush City, which is closed custody. It's fucking rough too. It's they call it gladiator school, and
That's
it's
what I was gonna say. Is what I do know is like in the Wisconsin prisons, like the guards have control, and in
yeah,
Minnesota, it's like where the prisoners have, it's rough. Like you actually got to
yeah,
do something bad to go to prison usually in Minneapolis or Minnesota.
yeah. I mean, it's like every day someone's getting crashed, man. I seen some pretty heinous fucking fights, dude. Like seeing a dude's eyeballs get ripped out and shit. Dude, it was fucking crazy.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it was havoc, dude. Like it
Oh,
was but I did that for, I was in there for like a year and a half. I got pretty strong. I got a pretty good back, and stuff. And then I went to Moose Lake, which was like pretty much cakewalk, really. That was a nice place.
Was that
Vending
minimum?
machine. Oh, no, it's medium. That's like right before you go to boot camp, which would be minimum. But yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty damn close. It's like yeah, it's real low. Moose Lake's nice. Moose Lake is fucking
I
nice.
know Stillwater has that. I believe it's Stillwater. The prison's actually under the ground.
Well, no, I think it's Old Park. Stillwater's
Oak
old as fuck.
Park,
That's like
that's what it
Josh Point,
is.
bro.
Yep.
Yeah, Old Park's underground. Stillwater's old. They have a maximum and minimum. They have a Stillwater farm, and they got a fucking there. That's just like one of the oldest prisons, though. Yeah, they're actually pretty. I think there's like 3 floors. You get tossed off that floor, you're fucking hitting the ground hard.
did you have any trouble while you were in prison? Did you get in fights or did you have anything bad happen to you? Or did you inflict
Nothing too
anything?
crazy. I mean, there's fights. You got to get into, you're gonna get into 1 or 2 fights in that amount of time, but nothing too crazy. I seen a couple ODs, some people OD in there on those fatty pills. People were fucking falling out a lot. I had
Oh man,
the dude in my unit died, and then another dude in unit, and I seen a suicide too.
You see that? It's very common.
that's great.
Sadly,
Yeah, I bet.
jail is the number. It's like 10 times higher. You see the suicide rate because people don't know what they're facing.
Yeah.
When you're in prison, you know what you're facing. You know.
So you might
Yeah,
have hope or some sort of.
Yeah, it's the fear of the unknown is the biggest, scariest, like most stressful part. At least
Hmm.
that's what I experienced with jail.
For sure. Oh, me too. Even though
Yep.
I only was in there for a short time in my life, I was unknown the time I was in there till I got out. So it was they came and just said you don't have any charges, you can go. But I the whole time I was in, I didn't know.
Yeah.
so like I think in my prison thing, what kept me going was my artistry, really, because once you start getting known for that shit, I had like a ton of work, man. Everyone's coming to me to get their fucking daughter drawn, their mom drawn,
It's
cards done,
one of the
tattoos
best hustles
designed
in
and
there.
shit. Yeah, so I'm just like, you know what I mean? Once that's happening, and then it starts to become easy because people are kind of catering to me to get shit done. You know what I mean? So like, it's like a hot commodity. So,
How many
and I mean,
noodles would like how many
oh,
noodles?
in prison, it's cash, man. We're talking money. There ain't no amount of noodles really, but I mean, I didn't like. I actually,
Envelopes. I've never really seen like straight cash.
well, yeah. I mean, they're either hitting my books or like when we're in Moose Lake, you get cash. There's vending machines, and like when I go to the machine, I hit it gives me quarters that are real quarters that I could bring to the streets and use on the streets.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, I had stacks really, but I mean, when we were doing tattoo designs, it was mostly cash.
That's awesome. So what was the biggest challenge then? You sound like you kind of had it not too bad with the art and stuff going on. People were you were kind of cool with people. Did you what were the challenges you faced?
Challenges. You're in prison. You got being told what to do when you want to and when you can do it, and just fucking having to deal with a lot of motherfuckers that are disrespectful, fucking just dirty ass motherfuckers that don't give a fuck about themselves or anything else. You know what I mean? You got
Yeah.
to be on point with this time and shit. And
That's what I
it's hard.
experienced with jail and is the vast majority of people are they don't really belong there, but you do meet some people it's like this is why there is jail.
Right. Right.
I I mean, I've had some fucking like. I guess I could say this. Like, there's a lot of things about it, but one thing I can contest from going to prison is there is evil in this world, and it does exist because I've seen it in there, man. There's some fucking bad people in there. Like, as far as like child molesters and fucking some really fucked up shit, dude.
And they're protected very well too. Like you
Yeah,
cannot even say anything to them.
yeah, yeah.
So when you went in, was when you decided you were going to be sober then? Or did you stop while you were in?
Well, I was trying to kind of wean myself off before I going in, just knowing that that shit was gonna happen. But when I went in, I was not ready. I was actually like, I got caught up in Eau Claire, and I was actually, I seen the cops coming, and I was like in a situation where I was actually shooting up fentanyl, and I fucking shot up, and I got up, and I just fell out immediately, and they had to like restrain me in the cop cruiser, and that was when I started, and I was on probation, so I already had a hold on me right when I went in there, and I had to withdraw while I was in jail, so I was pretty fucked up going in, and then like after that withdrawal though, that's when I told myself I didn't want to do this shit again. It's like I can't do this anymore. I don't have another one of these in me, really. Mentally and physically, it just fucks you up. Especially withdrawing from that shit, you know? In a
Yeah.
fucking COVID situation, in a COVID cell, just fucking lights on all day, just miserable as fuck, cold as fuck, hot as fuck, shitty fucking food. People are just
That
assholes.
smell, that
Yeah,
those plastic trays with that just some of the worst food you can imagine when you're withdrawing. It's like that smell is just
yeah,
intensified.
yeah, it's everything. I mean, yeah. It took me almost 2 months to really get my shit to a point where I wanted to deal with any of it, to be honest. And I was just in a fucking fog, really. And at the same time, I'm like a little bit like in disbelief, trying to like hold on to shit that's outside and just try to keep things going, maybe whatever. But like it was a wrap. I wasn't gonna leave. I knew it deep down, like it was just too much. I
Eau
had to get
Claire don't
extradited.
mess around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went from Eau Claire to Minnesota. I was extradited, and I had to do like 4 counties in Minnesota till I finally got to Scott County and went to prison. You know what I mean? It was fucking a long run. It took 4 months really for me just being in jail, county jails, and to prison. Like I got arrested September. I didn't end up in prison until January, but I was in county the whole time, just going to different counties that I had crimes that did a
And
whole fucking tour.
right, listen, it was all stemmed from using. You were just kind of bound, had little things all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, so are you in a program now, or are you cold turkey in this at this point?
No, I'm in treatment right now. I got out, but I mean, I've been clean, but I'm in a rehabilitation treatment center here now in North Star.
Okay, nice. So are you on a medicated program?
No, I mean, it could be like I can be, but I'm just doing it on my own.
That's awesome, man.
So you
I,
have
I did the Suboxone running before and shit, and it's just one of those things where I mean, I heard there's a shot out there that's pretty fucking badass too, and I wouldn't mind trying it. I don't know.
Sublocade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Check that out, man. That might be the thing that does it for you, but you need insurance, is what I hear.
Well, I mean, I mean, like on the Medicaid here, Minnesota wouldn't even release you without insurance out here. It's crazy.
Okay,
Like
yeah, I
when
know
you're
it's
in state,
tougher over there.
No, it's better over there.
No, well, I mean it's the rules are tougher though to get out and do stuff. You have to have insurance and things.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You
Yeah.
can't not have it basically, or you can get a fine.
Yep.
So you are in counseling and stuff, but you're not on a medication. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yes, yeah.
So you just have to. Do you get drug tested at all?
Oh yeah, pretty much every fucking week, bro.
So you're getting drug tested weekly. You're going to counseling. So what's your big incentive to stay on the straight path right now?
Oh fuck, man, life. I want to be successful. I want to have my shit back. I mean, I had a good life. I've always had a good life, but now I'm kind of locked into this shit right now, where I want to be financially secure so I can travel and do my thing. I want to go snowboarding. I want to go to Hawaii and surf and shit, like ambition.
Hawaii.
And now that I got this flowering shit going, like I actually this week right now, there's a tattoo convention going on as of today till the 22nd in St. Cloud, and it's really just an artist convention that I want to get into and see where I can put my drawing to the table. You know what I mean? I want to see where there's out there, and I want to meet and just be influential. You know what I mean? And then like also like that shit brings like I want to go to other places and see like the art there and shit like that, like and get into that scene because every place has a like a different style. and I want to be part of it. Like I want to see it and experience it. So I mean, none of that shit's gonna happen when you're fucking looking for heroin all day.
Oh, for sure on that, man. So the art is really a big motivation for you in getting out. And I know that you've always wanted to travel. You always have. It's something that I've known you for. So,
Yeah, experience. I mean, like I said, I miss snowboarding and shit like that. Just doing everything, even mountain biking. You know what I mean? Like I like being in places where I can do everything that's fun. You know,
right.
fucking
Have you had any relapse since you stopped since between
no,
stopping in the program?
no relapses.
So when you stopped in prison, you were able to keep it together the rest of your prison time?
Yeah, yep.
That's awesome. So you're on parole, you said?
Yeah, just for another 8 months. I'm almost off.
And then that's the end of your time? Then you're good?
Yeah, yeah. Then I'm free. I'm back on. I'm back to being a citizen.
That's awesome. No, that's
I'm back to
good.
being a civilian.
You
So
got a
I'm
good positive outlook on it. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, for sure. That I mean, you have to though, coming from that heavy of an addiction, using that strongly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what advice would you give others who are facing prison time right now?
run. No, I'm just kidding. Get the fuck out of there. Fucking go to Mexico. No, fuck, man. Yeah, nah, for real. I would just say, get that shit on, get it done, dude. Run that shit up and just get it concurrent and put it behind you because you really can't run forever. This is fucking world is under a Wi-Fi right now, so we're all being watched. There's
Big
no
brother.
fucking yeah. There's no chance of you really having much of anything if you're trying to fucking avoid it. And I mean, I did it. I did enough to know I've tried to do identities and shit. And I ran them up. It all comes to an end. If you really want to be a big player in this world, you got to kind of clean up the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. So, along with your daughter, is there other people in your life, friends and family that you need to rebuild relationships with since all this happened?
Like the thing about it is like, well, fuck, man. When you go to jail, it's not a group photo. It's just you. So when you come out, it's just you. So like the people that I really the people that were like meant anything to me in my life, I've always kept tight in my life, so I never really fucked that up. So I had them in jail and all the way out of jail. And the people that like maybe I fucked over or whatever, that's their life. They're on their own path. I'm just kind of like doing my thing, and my circle is really fucking small right now. So everything I've already like had to make peace with, I have. And I did that shit while I was in jail. Like I took that time to talk to everybody and let them know what was going on and like reconnect while I was doing, you know what I mean? Like there's no better time to do it when you're in jail. You got nothing but time, really.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome that you took that time too and you thought about that while you were in there, to I mean, did you lose any friends, to addiction while this was all going on?
Yeah, fuck, man. People dying left and right, dude.
Like people close to you though? I mean, we all
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
know some
My childhood friend, dude. Like my mom had to tell me he died because that's how close he was. He was friends with my mom, you know. So yeah,
Wow.
I lost him, and that was sad too because you know what I mean. Like my mom going to that funeral, seeing his mom, and she's like, that's the one thing she fears is losing me. And she's like, no mother should ever see their fucking son die. Like that
No.
shouldn't be. You know,
Right.
and that's the fucking thing.
Man, that is hard. Yeah, that's really tough.
It's true though. No mom want. Yes, they don't deserve to see their son die. That's like,
No. Parents are not supposed to bury their children.
Right. So let's get away from that. Let's talk about your art a little bit. Can you explain a little bit like how you see like when you see these things in your head, like how are you getting them on paper? Can you explain that? Because when you like tell me something and then you show me what you did, like you are really good at getting what you're thinking out onto paper.
it takes a long time. It all kind of stemmed from like when I was in there, I had my girlfriend and she was just going through a miserable time, and she would just tell me how she was feeling and shit, and she would tell me she's like losing her mind and shit, and I kind of like pictured her in my head of like what it looked like for her to lose her mind and shit. So I draw like these crazy things, and then I started like doing pictures that meant something like from my heart. Like I would just you really don't have much but going on other than what you can do in there is your heart, really. So I fucking just all my pictures when I first started drawing were all super super fucking dark. All of them, they're all dark as fuck. There's like no happiness in it. But like literally, I would just draw how I perceived what was going on inside of me. Like, and a lot of it was dark. Like fucking, I felt like there was like bugs in me coming out. Like, and not just like earth bugs, but these fucking alien, fucking hybrid, crazy bugs that just eat flesh and like your dreams and shit. You know, what I mean? Like just crazy shit. So then I just kind of went with that, and then like going off of what I know, like what I can base my imagination on is what you see. So I look at, pictures of stuff that kind of like was what I was feeling. You know what I mean? Like a lot of National Geographics, fucking like stuff that like had pictures of like real life photo realism and shit. I would just base my imagination off that and alter it a little bit. And then eventually, when I started getting like into the situation, like it's weird, like fucking the tattoo thing. People would ask for just some ridiculous shit, and you're like, like I would just be like, I'm not fucking, I can draw. I'm not a magician. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck does this mean? He wants to draw like air going through fucking windows and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So then you're really pushed on it and you're doing all these designs and you're trying to design for other people what's in their head. And that's really the challenge, really. When someone wants something done for them, they can explain it to you and you're going to see it differently no matter what, really, because you're two different people. But having them describe it and then you having to draw what they feel or how they see it is kind of how I started getting good at what I can draw.
Right. Yeah, it's just like how, you know, in your life, each person around you sees you differently.
Yeah.
No two people see you the same, so the art is the same. When you explain it to somebody, they're not going to see it exactly how you're seeing it, No matter how good you explain it, there's going to be some differences there.
Yeah.
I mean, even with my tattoos, you try to explain it the best you can, but it's still not exactly what you saw in your head.
It's all perception, but I mean, like when I'm saying I'm doing, like, I'm drawing probably from sun up to sun down for fucking like a solid 2 years, dude.
Right.
Like I can draw, like I've gone through, I don't even, there's a lot of mistakes. Like it's trial and error. Like when they say this shit did not come easy. Like I didn't just like pick up, like when I first did it, my drawings weren't that great. They were good, like to the point where you could, like, you knew what you're looking at. They were like above average a little bit, but they weren't anything like, oh, that's fucking awesome. And now I'm getting that realm where I don't consider it awesome, but I'm in the realm where I'm being noticed by the artists that I really enjoy, like that I think are awesome. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, cool. It's cool as fuck.
That is awesome, man. So, Jamie, you have anything else you want to add today, man?
No, man, I'm fucking good. It's been
Yeah.
fun though. I appreciate it. It was good meeting you, bro.
Yeah, JJ, do you have anything else you want to add today?
No, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Good conversation. So, I mean, remember that addiction can take you down dark paths, and it doesn't have to be the end of your story.
No,
You have to pick
never.
yourself up. The biggest thing is, we talked about it, a couple times this week. You got to have the aha moment. You got to be able to push through, and you can actually have any life you want after addiction.
Yeah, that is
Fuck
correct.
yeah.
So, yeah, thank you all for listening. Please like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, stay humble, and make good choices for yourself and those around you.
Do your research.
Get it, man.
Oh, yeah.